Recently, the Rupert and Oppenheimer families contributed to assist distressed small businesses. The Motsepe family and associated companies also pledged 1 billion rand to assist with a wider range of coronavirus-related challenges confronting South Africa and the rest of the continent. So how can this philanthropy model assist small businesses? Well, to help us answer that, I'm joined by founder of Leadership Options, Morne Mostert. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. So within days of applications opening for the Sukuma Relief Fund, it's reached capacity and applications for funding exceeded the capital of R1 billion. What does that tell you about the state of small businesses in South Africa?
It does tell us that small businesses are experiencing exactly the same as any other business and, in fact, individuals, and that is an enormous amount of distress. We know that small businesses are under enormous pressure, but we also know that small businesses are at least potentially one of the gateways to economic growth and indeed employment in South Africa. And this new model that we've developed at the Institute for Futures Research in partnership with the Schmidt Family Office offers a sort of innovative, strategy-oriented way in which philanthropy can serve small businesses and a number of other sectors in the long term.
Let's talk more about that. I mean, you speak to small business owners, some of them in South Africa. We've also been seeing long queues of informal traders waiting to get a permit, some people waking up from 5 o'clock in the morning and still stuck in long queues and many permits not being issued. Some small business owners would say that they're being treated with contempt in South Africa. So when you say that, you know, small businesses are a gateway to economic growth, how then will this philanthropy Indaba model address some of these issues of business beyond profit?
Well, of course, that is exactly the phrase, business beyond profit, the idea that business, of course, exists for profit, but that it also exists to have a healthy relationship with society. It is, of course, in society, and a healthy relationship with the planet at large. But what the model suggests in the research is that the first thing for strategic philanthropy is for those who are philanthropic in their behaviors, and that could be government, though we don't often think of government in philanthropic terms, but it could also be ultra-high net worth individuals, it could be organizations, foundations, and even innovative crowdsourcing mechanisms. These philanthropic ventures in our proposal should start with what we call connect, and that is to link the nature of their own enterprise with that of their philanthropic intent. So, for example, if you look at, let's say, the brand of Rupert or Oppenheimer, these are brands with high levels of entrepreneurial characteristics that are associated with them. And that's perhaps one reason why their funding is leaning towards favoring small business. And then we've linked the philanthropy model to some design thinking methodology, which means that we define in depth what exactly small businesses need so that we don't guess from the luxury of the 27th floor of the foundation. We then empathize deeply with the realities of small business. Think, for example, about the need for cash flow, the need for innovation, access to resources, infrastructure, the need to secure their talent for the longer term is another example. Then we ideate, we develop a number of innovative ideas, and then we prototype to see whether this in fact works in reality, or, as the risk often is, it's a lovely policy but doesn't in fact work.
Dr. Morne, I'd like to pick your brain on this one. So Business Partners, a subsidiary of Remgro, where the Sukuma Relief Fund is concerned, will administer the process to mostly needy SMEs, right? So they're saying that this will be in the form of loans to SMEs at a very favorable term. And some sectors of society asking, is that philanthropic or is it setting up small businesses, you know, for failure? Is that a fair assessment? What is your interpretation on the situation?
Well, I think you can think about a small business in a number of terms. You can think about, just broadly, think about the financial dimensions, the internal business processes and resource and infrastructure requirements, the way that small businesses manage talent, and the way that small businesses manage their customers and clients. Now, on the finance side, the reality is that many small businesses have just dried up in terms of revenue during the lockdown. And so access to funding is absolutely critical for business continuity. And access to a loan is a lifeline to business. Small businesses don't have the kind of collateral required to secure large loans, and if they do secure loans, often the terms are not very favorable. So to make a loan available and to do so at favorable terms is potentially a lifesaver for small businesses. But there are other ways, of course, in which small businesses can be helped. In terms of infrastructure, they can be helped. And there, we think that access to data, internet access, is absolutely critical, especially at a micro-enterprise level. Businesses can be helped in terms of their value chains. They can be helped in terms of ensuring business continuity and services for their customers, and a number of other ways. But this financial mechanism will undoubtedly make a difference.
A quick one for us, please. What is the future of small businesses, especially on the continent?
We are seeing a flourishing of small businesses all over the African continent. According to a recent GSM survey, around 400 tech hubs alone popping up all over the African continent. This is young people on the continent saying, we can no longer wait for government. We must save ourselves. We're going to be entrepreneurial in our orientation. And what's interesting is these businesses are ramping up quickly and they're internationalizing very rapidly.
Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Morne Mostert.